When I traversed into this realm, the story was already nearing its conclusion. I am the malicious supporting character, an undeniable fact.
Conséquently, il adoptait la laisser-faire attitude.
As a result of my apathy, those around me began to behave oddly, flocking to me as if possessed. The leading couple exchanged glances, their eyes drifting. It has been a while since we last met. I find myself missing it. The aloof and fastidious stepbrother commanded, "Go and bring the young lady down for dinner." My stoic father gestured with his fingers, "Call me dad through voice, and I shall provide you with funds." The venomous stepmother, her eyes brimming with tears, exclaimed, "She actually cares for my hardships. After her father's divorce, I must align myself with her." I inquired with bewilderment, "What on earth is happening? Have you all lost your minds?" At noon, the sun blazed fiercely. A couple, intimately entwined, radiated happiness. Surrounding them, well-wishers showered their heartfelt blessings. The atmosphere was vibrant, with the exception of my own discontent. Amidst the applause, the voice to my right was cold as ice. "Those two are already engaged. You would do well to abandon any malicious thoughts." The person to my left smiled charmingly. "If you cause any more disturbances, I shall break your legs and confine you. The CF family cannot afford to lose such a person." I let out a derisive laugh. "Very well. If you choose to ignore my temper, I shall be seen as lacking in spirit." It is rare to experience a transmigration, yet while others revel in their roles as protagonists, I am relegated to mere cannon fodder. Moreover, I am a notorious scapegoat, having committed countless misdeeds. The narrative has reached its climax, with the leads overcoming my obstacles to finally become engaged and bask in their sweetness. Meanwhile, I, the expendable character, am about to face torment from the male lead, who shall commence his retribution post-marriage. Though I am the sole daughter of the CF family, my biological mother has been deceased for many years, and my father remarried early on. My stepmother brought along a child with whom I share no blood relation, and they live in harmonious accord with my father. Furthermore, that stepbrother has proven himself capable, establishing his own company during university, without relying on the CF family's connections. After several years of development, he is now flourishing. Having laid the groundwork of the family background, let us return to the narrative. My prior actions are irredeemable. The male lead's revenge is inevitable. Although the CF family status is not insignificant, my father is engrossed in immersive wealth accumulation, often wandering abroad. The household is entirely managed by his capable yet incompatible wife, my stepmother. I should consider myself fortunate if my stepmother does not exploit me further. My stepbrother holds the female lead in high regard, while I, in opposition to her, have become a target of collective disdain. Very well. Is this how we shall proceed? I shall disregard the threadbare plot and the whims of others. I refuse to partake any longer. Since I am already mired in this quagmire, I will simply surrender to fate. If I am to be vilified, then I shall unleash chaos upon all. I retorted icily. The two are already engaged. What more can I do? Am I to brazenly abduct a maiden in broad daylight? My stepbrother withheld even a sidelong glance, stating, "You are well aware of your previous deeds. For this engagement banquet, remain composed." My stepmother, rather sensitive, interjected, "Wait a moment, why is it about abducting a maiden?" I bestowed upon her a smile shrouded in enigmatic profundity. Having watched an abundance of television dramas, would I truly utter such a slip of the tongue? The engagement banquet concluded flawlessly, yet both the male and female leads found themselves somewhat disoriented. The male protagonist, Duan Zhongyan, gracefully approached with the female lead, Kong Rusi, engaging in conversation with his stepbrother and stepmother. I sat in silence on a chair, expressionless, indulging in the refreshments. For as long as the engagement banquet lasted, I endured the mockery and derision of the two jesters flanking me. My mood was already quite dismal, and now I was filled with pent-up frustration. Not even granted a sip of tea. Damn it, what a wretched identity. The more I remained quiet, the more alarmed Duan Zhongyan and Kong Rusi appeared. They exchanged a glance, and Duan Zhongyan could no longer restrain himself. "Thank you, Brother Xia. Thank you, Zhao Ge." She, Xie Zhenqiu, poised and composed, emanated an air of calm control, as if everything was well within his grasp. Rest assured, I was unaware of this before. Now that I have returned, I will ensure she does not cause you any more trouble. His tone rose slightly, deliberately allowing me to overhear. It was as if the last straw had broken the camel's back. The final fuse of the bomb had been ignited. I slammed my hand on the table, genuinely enraged. "All right, fine. In your eyes, whatever I say now is futile. Since I am so wicked, Just leave me be. I shall lock myself away and never emerge to wreak havoc upon you again. However, I cared little for what others said about me, calm Rusi. I pointed at the female lead, my eyes reddening. Have you truly forgotten who I became this way because of? With that, the tears I had been holding back cascaded down, 2 round droplets falling, resembling a weeping pear blossom that evoked sympathy. What is the pinnacle of verbal sparring? It is to deny the opponent any opportunity to respond. After my outburst, I covered my face and fled. The few behind me stood in stunned silence. After a moment of astonishment, the female lead turned to the male lead, her face unusually uncertain and bewildered. What did she mean by that? Duan Zhongyan, having grown up alongside me, understood my temperament all too well. He was certain. She must have said that just to annoy us, Rusi. Do not take it to heart. The stepbrother scoffed. If she truly had the resolve to lock herself away, my father would be eternally grateful. The stepmother's perspective was always unique. Why did she point at Rusi when she said that? Did something happen between the two of you in the past? Kong Rusi frowned. How could that be? I didn't even know her before. The stepmother pressed on. During your engagement, she also mentioned something about forcibly taking a maiden. Forcibly taking a maiden. Who took her maiden? Who did she wish to take from? The stepmother glanced at the radiant couple in front of her, then at the direction I had departed. After a pause, she covered her mouth with her fingers, swallowing the words that almost escaped her lips. My goodness. Has old Xia's daughter been misled under my care? I sprinted back to the old Xia residence. The Xia family had endured 3 generations, nearly facing ruin in my grandfather's time, only to flourish again in my father's era. Though referred to as the old residence, it was merely the land purchased by my great-grandfather, a grand estate built on a mountainside. The stepmother and Xia Zhenqiu were more accustomed to residing in a villa in the city. However, the housekeeper, who had watched me grow up, remained at the old residence. I ran back, tears streaming, and entered my room, tossing away my phone, computer, tablet, and everything that could connect me to the outside world. I disposed of these items. I no longer wished to see them. With a tearful farewell, I locked the door, then struggled to push a table and a small sofa against it. I drew the curtains, enveloping the room in darkness. The Xia residence was vast, my bedroom alone equipped with a reception room, study, and dressing room, all boasting exceptional soundproofing. After removing my makeup, I collapsed onto the bed, falling into a deep slumber. Before I had traversed into this realm, I had stayed up 3 consecutive nights to conquer a game. I even wondered if I had perished from exhaustion before arriving here. I slept without awareness of time, awakening to find the sun still hidden, and continued to doze. Upon waking again, I thought, damn, this night is interminable. I was so hungry. Why had the dawn not yet arrived? I turned over and felt the silk bedding beneath me. Oh no, I had forgotten. I was already in another world. Pulling back the curtains to peer outside, darkness still enveloped the night. I switched on the lights and began rummaging for food. In the reception room, I discovered a hidden cabinet filled with snacks. The study was stocked not with classics but with novels and comics. There were even 2 high-end gaming consoles, complete with all the popular games available on the market. Hiss. Although Xia Zhaoge seemed to possess a romantic disposition, I must admit, she had exquisite taste. With an abundance of food and so many forms of entertainment, I nearly lost track of time. Just a door away, numerous individuals stood in the once quiet old residence. The elderly housekeeper, with silver hair, was nearly in tears. Young master, please think of a way. The young lady has been inside for 10 days without emerging. Xia Zhenqiu wore a stern expression. If she has stated she wishes to be left alone, why bother with her? What she said was in anger. The housekeeper, who had watched Xia Zhaoge grow up, genuinely cared for her. Young master, you too. Even if she is upset with you, you should be a bit more accommodating towards her. She has grown up without her parents by her side, and only the young master of the Duan family was willing to play with her. It is natural for young people to be emotional and stray onto a misguided path. Speak with her gently. She is not a disobedient person. She has locked herself away for 10 days now, refusing to eat or drink for so long. This cannot continue. The stepmother interjected. If I recall correctly, the snacks in Xia Zhaoji's room were just replaced with a fresh batch half a month ago. How can one survive solely on snacks? They lack the nourishment of proper meals. The housekeeper wiped his eyes. The young lady has been raised by me, and she has never liked snacks. Now, having suffered a blow, she has likely not eaten for days. The housekeeper, of mixed French heritage, had grown up in France before moving here with my biological mother, inherently emotional and prone to overthinking. The more he contemplated my condition in that dark room, the more pitiful it seemed. He glanced at the two unmoved individuals standing there, gritting his teeth. Fine, fine, if you do not pity the young lady, I will. I shall call Siebowen right now. When his wife passed, he promised to take good care of her, and this is how he does it. Upon mentioning Siebowen, the stepmother and stepbrother's expressions shifted. Old Sia was out earning money, while his daughter remained locked away in her room, refusing to eat. Was this reasonable? Call someone over, break down the door, and invite the young lady down for a meal. The housekeeper, sorrowful and tearful, occasionally glanced at Siezhenchio. The young lady never listens to us. Only the one who tied the knot can untie it. The stepbrother raised his eyes, gritting his teeth. I will personally go call her. Only then was the housekeeper satisfied. Old Zhang, hurry and prepare dishes that the young lady enjoys. Xiao Wang, quickly bring out the gilded antique dinnerware that she favors. Xiao Li, pick the most beautiful roses from the courtyard to arrange. The young lady seldom returns for a meal. We must make it perfect. The stepmother sat coldly on the sofa in the living room. This was precisely why she despised the old residents and, consequently, Xie Zhaogo as well. Having married in for 20 years, she had never received such treatment. Never. In the dimly lit room, a massive monitor emitted a cold, eerie glow. I sat there, my complexion pale. I had played this horror game for 5.5 days and finally completed it. Damn it, despite being a horror game, why was the ending so heart-wrenching? Watching the male lead tightly embrace the cold female lead, I wept uncontrollably. Wasn't it just about fleeing from a man? Why succumb to such despair? Truly a lack of ambition. The sudden voice that interrupted was filled with disdain. My nose-blowing action faltered as a faint light streamed in from the doorway. Siezhenchio stood there, impeccably attired in a suit, one hand casually tucked into his pocket, his gaze cast downward. He was undeniably handsome, the quintessential domineering CEO archetype. However, alas, he had a mouth. I stammered, "How did you get in?" The bedroom door opens inward, and having blocked it with so many things, it shouldn't have been possible to open. Siezhenchio slightly raised his head, and I peeked out from the gaming room. The bedroom door stood wide open, or rather, there was no bedroom door at all. The construction crew had completely removed it, and the remaining workers were dismantling the door frame. Naturally, everything I had piled there had been moved as well. Dreaded wealthy individuals. I wiped my face and asked, "What brings you here?" Siezhenchio's tone turned even colder. "Come down for dinner." Not hungry. The torment I had experienced left me with no appetite. He frowned. "Stop being unreasonable." I was utterly astonished. Unreasonable? I'm quite serious. Didn't I say I wouldn't be going out anymore? This room is my confinement chamber. I would never step outside. Siezhenchio fixed his gaze upon me, and I met his stare unflinchingly, my eyes reddening. In this standoff, he calmly remarked, "Since you say so, then it shall be as you wish." He commanded someone remove all the games, comics, novels, and snacks from the young lady's room. My pupils dilated in shock. What are you doing? If one is to reflect in isolation, there should be an appearance of isolation. In any case, you never pay attention to these things, so their removal would have no impact. The person following Siezhenchio was about to act. "Wait," I hastily interjected, upon further reflection. As long as the intent is there, anywhere can be a confinement chamber. All right, big brother, please head downstairs. I'll wash my face and join you shortly. I'm so hungry after so many days without food. A light chuckle emanated from behind me. I turned around to find Siezhenchio still standing there, his expression as impassive as ever. Noticing my gaze, he slightly lifted his eyelids, exuding an aura of icy indifference. Is there something else? No. How could I have thought that Siezhenchio, with his frigid demeanor, would ever smile? Was I so lost in the virtual world of gaming that I couldn't distinguish reality from fantasy? Upon my descent, the old butler nearly erupted with joy. "Oh, Miss Chaogo, you've finally come down. I've prepared all your favorite dishes." This old butler is undoubtedly the one who cares for me the most in this place. My expression softened. "I'm sorry for worrying you during this time." The old butler stared at me in a daze before turning away, his sleeve covering his eyes as tears streamed down his cheeks. Miss actually cares for others now. She must have suffered greatly recently. That old scoundrel Siebowen must have called to scold him soundly. I thought to myself, goodness, this is like something out of a comic. The dining table was already set with an extensive array of dishes. Ignoring the ostentatious candles and floral arrangements, I took a seat. My stepmother sat across from me, her demeanor exceedingly cold. "At your age, Why are you still resorting to starvation tactics? You mustn't do this again. Understood, I muttered quietly. All the meat and seafood dishes were on my side of the table, while my stepmother and Xiezhenqiu had only vegetarian dishes. Noticing a half-cut piece of fried chick from my stepmother's plate, I boldly moved it over to my side, openly exchanging it for a plate of the lotus root cubes I desired. My stepmother's hand paused, her mind racing. Has this child suddenly changed her nature? She actually offered me her favorite dish? Wait, how does she know I like this dish too? She glanced at the half piece of fried chick on her plate, her emotions complex as she pursed her lips. After a moment, she softened her tone. Since you recognize your mistakes, let us move on. I will have your brother increase your allowance by an additional 50,000 each month, so you can go out and see the world instead of fixating solely on one man. I tightened my grip on the fork, striving to keep my voice casual. How much is that? My stepmother replied, you currently receive a monthly fund dividend of 500,000. I'll have your brother add another 500,000, which will come from my account. A whole million. I couldn't even fathom how bright and cheerful I would be receiving such an amount every month. What a wicked stepmother. She was clearly my fairy godmother. I was utterly moved to tears. My previous phone and tablet were all gone. Xiezhenqiu was remarkably efficient. After dinner, the latest set of electronic devices was delivered, along with a bank card. Xiezhenqiu stated, as long as you cease to cause trouble and avoid provoking Duan Zhongyan and his ilk, feel free to spend the money on the card as you wish. He remained the same icy figure, yet in my eyes, he now radiated an aura of divine light. I assured him, big brother, rest assured, I have turned over a new leaf. I wholeheartedly agreed with my stepmother's words. Go out and see more. You won't be fixating solely on one man.
Now.
With 1 million in hand. That's 1 million. With charming young men at my disposal, what kind of man could I possibly desire? Thus, I made my way to the largest nightclub. However, after a few drinks, the door was kicked open. I was forcibly taken back to Xiezhenqiu's apartment. To facilitate commuting, he had purchased a set of apartments in the city center, where he usually resided. Upon my arrival, he was in his study reviewing documents, clad in casual home attire, wearing frameless glasses, with his hair down, looking several years younger. Ahem. At this angle, he exuded quite the husbandly charm. I had encountered many handsome men, but compared to Xiezhenqiu, they all paled in comparison. Yet, recalling the handsome men I had yet to admire in the nightclub, anger surged within me. Xiezhenqiu, what is the meaning of this? Did you not say I could do as I please as long as I didn't cause trouble? Did I provoke Duan Zhongyan? Or Kong Rusi? I merely bought some drinks at the bar. What right do you have to bring me back? I slammed my hands on the table, causing a loud clatter. If you don't give me an explanation today, you'll what? Xiezhenqiu raised his eyes, his gaze sharp as ice. So you're no longer fixated on Duan Zhongyan, but are now admiring other handsome men at the bar? Xie Chaoge. You truly have some nerve. What's wrong with admiring handsome men? You, with your cold heart, have no idea. The handsome men at the bar don't willingly enter this world, had it not been for their family backgrounds. They would rather wash dishes outside than come to such a place. Do you think they are merely flaunting their charms? They are extraordinary men of the century. They have declared that only I can understand them. Xiezhenqiu raised his hand to rub his temples. You are not to go there again, otherwise your monthly allowance will be reduced to 100,000. My incessant tirade abruptly ceased. While rescuing wayward handsome men was indeed important, my little allowance was far more crucial. I weakly inquired, if I don't attract anyone, can I still go to the bar? Xiezhenqiu emphasized, only to a clean bar. Furthermore, this sort of incident must not happen again. I nodded vigorously. Rest assured, I am someone who values propriety above all else. The following evening in the same study, we met once more. Xiezhenqiu removed his glasses, appearing somewhat exasperated. A person who values propriety. Go ahead, tell me, what was it this time? It was all a misunderstanding, I insisted. Someone beside me spoke up on my behalf. Miss Xia ordered 10 beauties at the bar and purchased fine wine under their names. In their competition for Miss Xia's affections, these beauties fought fiercely, nearly injuring her in the process. He was the bodyguard Xiezhenqiu had arranged to protect my safety discreetly. Witnessing such a situation, he had brought Xiezhenqiu over. The name of that bar? Chaoshi Night Banquet, a clean bar. Understood, you may leave, Xiezhenqiu remarked coolly. The bodyguard exited, and I hurriedly followed. I then heard that cold voice behind me. You stay. In the study, only Xiezhenqiu and I remained. After a moment of silence, unable to tolerate the atmosphere, I spoke first. Since you have nothing to say, I'll take my leave. Xia Chao go, he said, his tone calm, causing my heart to tighten. I genuinely couldn't understand what he intended to do. Huh, what do you intend to do? I yearned to obliterate everyone with a steadfast mental state. As I observe Xie Zhenqiu's psychological condition teetering on the brink, I find myself utterly unhinged. I seclude myself within my quarters, yet you compel me to venture forth. You have bestowed upon me money, and is it not my prerogative to spend it as I please? Have I engaged in debauchery? Have I succumbed to vice? Have I gambled? I have done nothing but indulge in a modest drink. And yet I am summoned to face an unyielding reprimand without having even laid a finger on another. Have you all truly conducted yourselves with such pristine innocence during your social engagements? At my age and with my background, is it so reprehensible to seek companionship merely to uplift my spirits, even without the guise of romance? Xie Zhenqiu, his demeanor placid, asserts, if one must seek companionship, it ought to be with someone of untainted lineage. I retort, shouldn't it suffice to be healthy and aesthetically pleasing? Xie Zhenqiu's tone drops ominously. Mind your language. I gaze at Xie Zhenqiu, seated resolutely, and a laugh escapes me. I lean closer, gripping his bow tie to diminish the distance between us, our breaths intertwining. Brother Zhenqiu, I call softly, since you are so concerned for my well-being, and given that we share no blood ties, why not endure a little for my sake? Xie Zhenqiu's pupils dilate in surprise. He roughly wrenches my hand away.
Get lost.
I gracefully exit, closing the door behind me. Today, I have managed to vex Xie Zhenqiu once more, and I feel invigorated. I suspect he will refrain from meddling in my affairs for a while. Yet, I cannot save the wayward young men, nor the wayward young women. What purpose does my existence serve? I have imprisoned myself in my room, engrossed in gaming for a month, then indulged in debauchery at a bar for another fortnight, yet I remain perplexed by this notion. However, the protagonists are growing restless. The male lead, valuing his pride, sends a convoluted message to Xie Zhenqiu. Do you know what Xie Chaoga has been up to lately? Xie Zhenqiu scoffs, busy with freeloading, swiping his card for pleasure. Quite the spectacle. The male lead is taken aback. Aren't you going to intervene? While he continues his roundabout approach, the female lead exhibits no such restraint. Upon hearing the name of the visitor, I am somewhat startled.
Conrusi?
What brings her here? The elderly housekeeper regards me kindly. She mentioned it has been a while since you last met and has come to see you. Given how long you've been cooped up, it might be a good idea to stretch your legs. Indeed, it has been quite some time since I last ventured outside. Kong Rusi awaits me in the first-floor living room. Upon my descent, her expression is a tapestry of complexity. When I interfered between the two, she harbored a deep-seated loathing for me. Yet, in my absence, she feels an unsettling void. Initially, she believed herself to be a mere plaything, uncomfortable in her newfound ease. However, she later realizes that Duan Zhongyan seems to share this sentiment. Without my meddling, their relationship flows serenely, devoid of fervor. This cannot continue. Do you need something from me? I wish to ask you to continue thwarting my relationship with Duan Zhongyan. My surprise is palpable. Have you developed Stockholm Syndrome? Fine. Assume I have. I won't let your efforts go unrewarded. How does 30,000 a month sound? I scoff. You do realize my brother provided me with a monthly allowance of 500,000 just to keep me from causing you trouble?
Conrusi.
A determined and self-made woman has seen some success in her endeavors, yet her financial means remain modest. After much deliberation, she proposes 80,000 a month, until just before our wedding. She wishes to ensure their marriage proceeds without a hitch. Coincidentally, I too have been feeling rather bored lately. Very well, how shall we proceed? You may devise your own strategy, as long as he perceives me as inferior, thereby cherishing his current situation. I detect the underlying implication and click my tongue. Men's affections shift so swiftly. It's only been a short engagement, and he already seeks novelty? Even the resolute Kong Rusi feels a twinge of grievance. Indeed, his attitude towards her has grown noticeably colder. The unattainable is often deemed the most desirable. Most men are fond of this game. With a decisive wave of my hand, I assure her, leave this matter to me. While Kong Rusi may seek my assistance in other endeavors, she might return empty-handed. However, hiring me to create chaos is no different from paying for a complimentary VIP seat to witness a performance up close. There is no distinction. Kong Rusi is a woman of action. Once our arrangement is established, she promptly transfers a month's payment. As the saying goes, the speed of the contractor's work hinges on the punctuality of the client's payment. With the funds secured, excavators could be set to work. The following morning, I arrive at Duan Zhongyan's company, bearing a lavish bouquet of red roses. However, the front desk does not permit me entry. My previous antics have become the stuff of legend. Duan Zhongyan might as well have placed a sign outside proclaiming, "No entry for Xie Chaoga and her canine." Yet, my visit today is not motivated by a desire to meet Duan Zhongyan. Removing my sunglasses, I exude nonchalance. Please convey a message to Mr. Duan at 8 o'clock tonight. He should look up. With that, I saunter away. The front desk, eyeing the lavish roses, immediately snaps a photo and shares it in the gossip group. Breaking news. Miss Xie has returned once more. She instructed the president to look up at 8 tonight. I told you Miss Xie would never easily concede. Her prolonged absence was merely a prelude to a grand scheme. I sense this matter will not conclude quietly. Oh, really? A flippant remark from the gossipers leaves the front desk seething. Swiftly adjusting her keyboard, she prepares to unleash a lengthy tirade against the other's apathetic attitude. Yet, just before pressing send, a flicker of reason compels her to glance up. The messages above bear two brief nicknames, reminiscent of her fleeting career. Mr. Duan.
Thud.
Was that the sound of a phone dropping? No, it was the sound of the front desk's gossiping soul shattering into pieces. With her last ounce of strength, she privately messages the group's admin, every word soaked in despair. Why did you involve Mr. Duan? The admin, always at the forefront of the gossip, replies swiftly, do you think there's a chance you sent the message to the company group? The company members, privy to the messages, can only consume their gossip in hushed tones, deterred by Duan Zhongyan's formidable presence. Those in the conference room maintain an air of indifference, as if they have seen nothing. It is evident that Mr. Duan harbors a distaste for Miss Xie. This latest incident will undoubtedly complicate the meeting. With this thought, someone discreetly glances upward. Goodness! The president appears to be laughing in irritation. Upon seeing those messages, Duan Zhongyan's spirits lift unexpectedly. He muses on her sudden silence, realizing it must stem from her inability to accept their engagement. As the clock strikes 8, the night envelopes the world. Those who have been watching the sky exclaim, "Look! Something is glowing in the sky." Duan Zhongyan stands by the floor-to-ceiling window, gazing up at the luminous drone above. The drones appear to be forming a pattern, and Duan Zhongyan felt a sense of anticipation within. Gradually, the design took shape, revealing a delicate hand gracefully descending as a ring crafted from drones gently encircled it. Beside this scene, enormous letters proclaimed, "Marry me." Duan Zhongyan's smile abruptly faltered. The receptionist, embodying a steadfast spirit of professionalism, was also peering through the window. Having not missed this captivating moment, after confirming the name of the gossip group chat, she continued her enthusiastic chatter.
Did you see that?
Marry me. I wager a month's salary that this is orchestrated by Miss Xie, subtly hinting to President Duan to propose. However, she paused, recalling that President Duan was already engaged to President Kong. What was Miss Xie attempting to convey? Suddenly, a thought surged through her mind, igniting her excitement. Could it be? The gossip group finally engaged with her. What do you mean? Could it be that Miss Xie was issuing a warning to President Duan? Having been entangled with President Kong all along, harboring unrequited feelings for him, and thus seeking to provoke President Duan? Yet President Kong was already engaged. And Miss Xie would not wish to tarnish her image before him, leaving her with no choice but to taunt President Duan. After many years of fervently indulging in gossip, the receptionist seemed to have lost her mind. Firmly believing in her speculative pairing, she devoted the night to crafting a PowerPoint presentation to convince her fellow group members of her theory. However, the gossip group was surprisingly quiet that day. Frustrated, she confronted the group leader. Why are you so derelict today? Such a monumental piece of gossip and you're silent? The leader meekly replied. After you mistakenly sent a message today, President Duan insisted I add him to the group. The receptionist's expression froze. Which group? The gossip group. Her heart skipped a beat. The leader delivered the final blow. He asked the only one who responded to your messages. Could it be that her entire experience today was merely a figment of her imagination? Perhaps she had dozed off at work, and all was just a dream. Upon waking, she would find herself still at the reception desk, with Miss Xie yet to arrive. Or should she consider applying for a position at Miss Xie's company if she were dismissed? Wait, does Miss Xie even have a company? With a joyous smile, the receptionist nestled into her bed, hands folded over her abdomen, eyes closed, radiating serenity.
She slept soundly that night.
Meanwhile, Duan Zhongyan tossed and turned. The proposal scene he had witnessed that evening left him with an ineffable mood. The receptionist's PowerPoint had obliterated the last vestiges of his rationality. Had Xia Chaoga's ultimate goal always been Kong Rusi? Reflecting on the past, Duan Zhongyan was horrified to realize that Xia Chaoga only ever displayed her emotional turmoil in his presence, behaving like a deranged woman, the former self. Smiling bitterly. To hell with those obtuse men. In contrast, before Kong Rusi, Xia Chaoga always appeared composed and elegant, meticulously guarding her image, never lowering her standards in front of a rival. Furthermore, there was something Duan Zhongyan had never shared with anyone. At the engagement ceremony, Xia Chaoga's words had pierced his heart like a thorn. Now, as all the pieces fell into place, Duan Zhongyan finally understood. Xia Chaoga could not truly harbor feelings for his fiancé, could she? With this thought, Duan Zhongyan disregarded the late hour and hastily messaged Kong Rusi. "What are you doing?" "Having dinner. Why?" "Where are you eating, and with whom?" Kong Rusi replied, "At the Xia residence, with Miss Xia." Just as he suspected, Duan Zhongyan commanded, "Wait there. I'll come to pick you up immediately. Stay away from Xia Chaoga, and do not listen to anything she says." Kong Rusi looked at her phone, puzzled. "Is that from Duan Zhongyan?"
Yes.
Feeling quite pleased with herself, she remarked, "I knew my actions tonight would yield results." Kong Rusi's expression grew strange. "It is effective, but it feels odd." Duan Zhongyan seemed to have lost focus on the main point. She waved her hand dismissively. "Don't sweat the details. As long as the outcome is favorable, that's what matters. Just like when I saved money by choosing the cheapest package without altering the proposal plan. It still turned out quite well, didn't it?" Kong Rusi's expression softened. "That's true. He said he would come to get me soon." "That's splendid." Kong Rusi had given her 800,000 and arranged a premium beauty card, leaving her with no money. Thus, she shamelessly returned to mooch offer, even requesting the old residents to send her lunch for a month. While she didn't mind having another person at the dining table, Kong Rusi only arrived after finishing her work at the company, well past 8 o'clock. As soon as she arrived, the butler insisted she accompany him, severely disrupting her leisure time. She frowned. "Meals must continue as usual. Aside from lunch, I'll have the driver deliver dinner to you at 6. After eating, return to your own home. Don't come back here." Kong Rusi agreed, without issue. However, someone was on high alert. Why should the Xia family provide lunch and dinner? Duan Zhongyan, anxious, rushed over in his loungewear, still in slippers. She shot him a glance. "This is a matter between her and me. It has nothing to do with you." Kong Rusi also wished to keep their arrangement under wraps. She simply felt that the Xia family chef was quite skilled, which is why she requested daily meals, nothing more. Duan Zhongyan could not help but overthink. He grasped Kong Rusi's hand, insisting they leave. "If you enjoy eating, I'll have my chef prepare meals for you. You must be full by now. Let us hurry back."
Wait.
She handed him a 5-layer wooden food box. "Aren't you working late tonight? This contains some snacks to tide you over, as well as dumplings, buns, and porridge. Just heat them up tomorrow." The poor heroine, once a high earner, was now so financially strained to maintain her relationship with Duan Zhongyan that she resorted to instant noodles for breakfast. She scrutinized Duan Rusi, her eyes critical. This man was merely handsome, tall, and wealthy. He wasn't that exceptional. He was even less generous than her stepbrother and stepmother. Humph. Duan Zhongyan felt a chill under her gaze. Xia Chaoga was serious. His expression turned grim as he swiftly led Kong Rusi away. Yawning, she turned to head back. Noting that it was already 9:30, these two were truly a handful. That night, they likely had a splendid time. The next day, Kong Rusi appeared rosy-cheeked and expressed her gratitude. "The outcome was great. However, could you visit our company occasionally? Or I could accompany you shopping during your breaks." Confused, she looked at her. Kong Rusi blushed, fidgeting with her hands. Duan Zhongyan seemed to have taken some strange medicine, believing she had feelings for Kong Rusi and wanting her to keep her distance. But Kong Rusi perceived that she harbored no such intentions. If this strategy would make Duan Zhongyan care more for her, she thought it wouldn't be so bad to befriend her. Her eyes brightened. "Are you free tonight?"
Huh?
Kong Rusi was puzzled. "I should be available after 6. "Then let us meet at 6. I know a great place." After a month and a half of idleness at home, it had been ages since she had been to a bar. Although Xie Zhenqiu discouraged her from going, why should she heed his words? Plus, with Kong Rusi accompanying her, it should be even less of an issue. The plan seemed flawless, yet reality proved less than satisfactory. Kong Rusi was rather reserved, and the bar they intended to visit was a rather respectable establishment. We indulged in a few drinks at the elegant venue, and as the intoxication set in, the driver escorted me home. Typically, at this hour, the old residence was illuminated by only 2 or 3 dim lights. Yet now it was ablaze with brightness. Regrettably, having imbibed rather excessively, I failed to notice anything amiss. Stumbling into the house, I collapsed onto the sofa and called out, "Aunt Wang, please prepare a bowl of hangover soup for me. You've been out causing mischief, and now you return at this hour?" A voice, calm yet devoid of discernible emotion, responded. Squinting through my haze, I discerned. "Dad? Father?" I staggered over, exclaiming, "Father, when did you arrive? I've missed you so much." After ensuring it was indeed my father, I enveloped him in an embrace, weeping profusely. The man I clung to stiffened, hesitatingly patting my back after a moment. "I'm back. Stop crying now." I sobbed uncontrollably, yet still managed to point accusingly at the silent figure of Xie, who had been watching. "Father, he never lets me go to the bar, always supervising me. You must scold him." Xie's father interjected, "It's a necessary measure." My cries intensified. The following morning, I awoke with a splitting headache.
Damn it.
Kong Rusi is truly impoverished now, taking me to the bar and diluting my drinks, rubbing my temples. I descended the stairs. "Aunt Wang, could you please prepare a bowl of hangover soup? My head is pounding." "Serves you right. Let's see if you dare to go to bars again." A sudden voice startled me. Leaning against the railing, I spotted a middle-aged man in a suit standing downstairs. My gaze lingered on his face, and eventually, I lowered my eyes respectfully. "Father." Xie's father frowned, although I usually addressed him this way. It somehow felt more pleasant to hear it from the man who resembled my father from yesterday. After breakfast, I sat upright on the sofa. "I heard from your brother that you've been quite settled lately." I was taken aback. Engaging in the ivory trade is illegal. "How could a dog's mouth produce ivory?" Xie's father patiently explained, "Our family does not partake in such illicit transactions." "Understood, father." He frowned again. "Address me differently." "All right, what should I call you?" "Father."
Just call me Dad, as you did yesterday.
I resisted. This man bore an uncanny resemblance to my father. If I were to address him the same way, I would lose all sense of reality. To preserve my last semblance of clarity in this unfamiliar world, I could not compromise on this. "Father, it feels inappropriate." Xie's father remained silent, pulling out his wallet. I peeked inside, only to find it empty. He closed the wallet, retrieving his phone instead. "Call me Dad, and I'll give you some money." I replied earnestly, "This is a matter of principle. It cannot be resolved with money." My phone vibrated. I glanced at the notification. "Your savings card ending in 65 has been credited with 100,000,000. Balance remaining." My soul felt as though it had undergone a baptism. Closing my phone, I abandoned my principles and sweetly said, "Daddy." Xie's father nodded.
Indeed.
It was not merely a figment of his imagination. This address sounded far more comforting. "Daddy, what brings you back at this hour?" He responded, "Your Uncle Yen mentioned you've been facing many hardships lately, so I came to check if you were unwell." My stepmother, seated on the sofa, flinched, fearing that Xie might direct the conversation toward her. I pondered for a moment. Not at all. I haven't been running around lately. I've made a friend. And both brother and Aunt Lin have been very kind to me. It's been quite pleasant. Especially since I've barely stepped outside. Those few individuals have been generously showering me with money. My little treasury is overflowing now. Hearing my words, my stepmother sighed in relief, feeling an inexplicable sense of gratitude towards me. "Xie seems rather nice." Seeing that I was fine, Xie's father remarked, "I cannot always be around to watch over you. If you encounter any issues, consult Aunt Lin. Your brother is busy with company matters, and Aunt Lin is at home, so she has more time to accompany you." I was not fond of this statement. "Father, I'm grown now. I don't need my parents overseeing me.
Besides,
Aunt Lin has her own affairs to attend to. You needn't worry. You've just endured a long flight. You should rest." I nudged Xie's father upstairs and noticed my stepmother awkwardly waiting at the staircase. "Your father has a point. If you face any difficulties, feel free to discuss them with me." What difficulties could I possibly have? Just as I was about to dismiss her, I suddenly remembered. Recently, there has been something troubling me. "What is it?" I explained that the relationship between Duan Zhongyan and Kong Rusi had grown peculiar. Their once harmonious world had become tumultuous, and they seemed to require my interference to rekindle their joy. I was reluctant to delve into such complications, yet I felt beholden to them. I vaguely mentioned the situation, obscuring the identities of the protagonists, and ultimately inquired, C does not wish to run back and forth, yet does not want to forfeit this opportunity. Is there a permanent solution? My stepmother, astute as ever, quickly grasped the crux of my dilemma despite my ambiguity. Why the confusion? From what you've said, it's clear that A's perspective has skewed. He believes C is encroaching upon B. If C simply adds fuel to the fire with B, the issue will resolve itself. Wait, that situation sounds eerily familiar. My stepmother's eyes widened. Goodness, less than 2 months after the engagement banquet. The dynamics among these three have escalated to this extent? I furrowed my brow. Is it truly thinking this way? No wonder I felt that Duan Zhongyan had been treating me with suspicion lately. However, if that were the case, the situation would indeed be simplified. My eyes sparkled as I regarded my stepmother, setting aside past grievances. She truly was a resourceful person. I have obtained a high-level VIP membership at a beauty clinic. Shall we go together today? My stepmother's eyes gleamed. Really? But your father disapproves of me indulging in such things. How could a man solely focused on wealth comprehend a woman's desires? I retorted passionately. Wait here, I shall speak with my father. Spouses must understand one another. My stepmother regarded me as though I were a divine being returned to earth. She wiped her tears. I once thought you were merely a mischievous child, but how ashamed I am. You are undeniably the most considerate in this household. I resolved, if I end up divorcing your father, I shall accompany you. I chuckled awkwardly. That may not be necessary. To discard both of them, seeking a partner without social security, stable income, or retirement benefits.
Goodness.
Has her heart been so moved that her mind is faltered? While my stepmother was engaged in her anti-aging treatment, I stealthily took out my phone and sent a lengthy message to Sia's father, vehemently criticizing him for prioritizing wealth over family for all these years. My stepmother, having married into the Xia family with a child of her own, bore the burden of raising 2 children while managing the household, all while enduring the frequent absence of her husband. Damn it, my writing was so eloquent that I nearly brought myself to tears. Xia's father responded with his characteristic composure, exuding a dignified authority. Understood. At that moment, I was unaware of what he had comprehended. The next day when I awoke, half of the old residence felt deserted. With disheveled hair, I rushed downstairs to inquire of the old butler. Uncle Yen, did we have a burglary last night? We must alert the authorities. The old butler, exhausted after a long night, replied, there was no burglary. The master suddenly decided to bring Madame Lin along on this business trip, insisting that she should feel at home. Consequently, many items in the house needed to be packed. The servants had toiled through the night to prepare everything. This is absurd. The 2 of them combined are nearing 100 years of age. And yet they're embarking on a foreign getaway together? And what about me? Why don't you take me along? He only cares for his wife and shows no concern for me. By the way, miss, the lady asked me to give you this before she left this morning. A black card was handed over. The lady instructed that you may spend it as you wish. Trembling, I accepted the legendary black card I had only encountered in novels. Indeed, women understand women best. After acquiring the card, I stormed into the Kong Ru Si Company and slammed the card onto the desk. Let us go travel together. Kong Ru Si had no desire to leave her beloved work. You know I can't be away for too long, and besides, if I suddenly leave, Duan Zhongyan will surely be displeased. What a self-reliant and career-driven heroine, yet half of her thoughts are consumed by Duan Zhongyan. I said, this trip could secure your marriage for the rest of your life. Are you really not considering it? Kong Ru Si slowly set down the documents in her hands. Could it really secure it for good? Duan Zhongyan set down his documents, recently having adopted a new habit. In his spare time, he would check Xia Chaoga's moments on social media. He couldn't quite articulate his feelings, but he felt compelled to glance at Xia Chaoga's updates from time to time. Ever since he uncovered Xia Chaoga's long-hidden sentiments, he had a nagging sensation that she was a ticking time bomb, occasionally ready to spring a thrilling surprise on him. Upon entering her moments, he saw a picture of a plane ticket accompanied by a brief caption, "Yay, off to travel abroad." Duan Zhongyan felt a wave of relief. This troublemaker was out of the country, which meant his fiancée would be safe during this time. Duan Zhongyan called Kong Ru Si, hoping to arrange a small gathering after work. The call didn't connect. No matter, he thought perhaps she is in a meeting. After handling some work, he glanced at the clock and realized an hour had passed. He tried calling Kong Ru Si again, but still no connection. An instinctive feeling of unease washed over him. Here he opened WeChat to check Siet Chowga's moments once more. The picture of the plane ticket now revealed 2 tickets. He then checked Kong Ru Si's WeChat. And to his astonishment, she had also posted a moment for the first time in ages, featuring the same image but with different text. My friend dragged me along for a round-the-world trip, helpless cat meme. Duan Zhongyan's eyes widened in fury. This Siet Chowga still harbored intentions. What a world tour. Clearly, she intended to whisk Kong Ru Si away during this time and then pressure her to dissolve their engagement.
No.
This was an affront right before his eyes. Duan Zhongyan abruptly rose, summoning his assistant. Postpone all my appointments and clear my schedule for the next 3 months. I need to take a marriage leave. The assistant, taken aback, stuttered so suddenly. When is your wedding date? I need to arrange accordingly. We'll discuss the wedding date once I have it confirmed, Duan Zhongyan replied hurriedly as he strode toward the elevator. You need to help me pack. I'm going abroad. The assistant was stunned.
Now.
Yes, right now. The assistant wore an expression of disbelief, but considering his paycheck, he swallowed any impending objections. Money is hard to earn. After all, forget it. If this person's company collapses, his parents will clean up the mess. As long as it doesn't affect his salary. The assistant would treat him like royalty. All right, Mr. Duan, I'll make arrangements immediately. Upon arriving at our destination with Kong Ru Si, I opened my phone to a flood of unread messages. A cursory glance revealed Duan Zhongyan's one-sided rants, occasionally interspersed with Xie Zhenqiu's mild rebukes. Since my last outburst, Xie Zhenqiu had kept his distance from me, instinctively avoiding me within a 50-mile radius. The fact that he was willing to say a few words about Duan Zhongyan's behavior indicated that Duan Zhongyan had indeed been quite out of control. The thought of Xie Zhenqiu being tormented by the irrational Duan Zhongyan uplifted my spirits. With my parents traveling far and my stepbrother indifferent, I had plenty of money in my account and a perfect travel companion ready to play the role of a supportive sidekick. I was in high spirits. Young men in a foreign land, here I come, I exclaimed, waving to Kong Ru Si, who was still unpacking. Let us go, it's vacation time. Just as I was nudging a handsome blonde with high cheekbones toward Kong Ru Si, a thunderous roar echoed in my ears. Siet Chowga. I shot Kong Ru Si a knowing smile, then turned to see Duan Zhongyan, looking refined yet weary, rushing over. Oh, look who has arrived. Let me make it clear. Kong Ru Si is mine, so don't even think about it. I winked playfully and replied, whether Kong Ru Si belongs to me, I cannot say, but she is certainly not exclusively yours. First and foremost, she is her own person, and secondly, she can choose whoever she wishes to be her fiancé. I find this foreign gentleman quite appealing. Duan Zhongyan immediately exploded in rage, dragging Kong Ru Si away. I was about to intervene when I noticed Kong Ru Si smile at me. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. After my recent influence, Kong Ru Si had gained quite a bit of invaluable insight. She had transformed into a relationship master of sorts. At the very least, she wouldn't hang herself on a crooked tree. Observing Duan Zhongyan's foolish demeanor, I wondered what kind of mess he would fall into. I leisurely swirled my drink, posing for several photos with a handsome gentleman. As I nibbled on the rim of my glass, I edited my social media post, setting it to be visible only to Xie Zhenqiu. I wondered how long it would take for the fish I baited to bite. Just as I was preparing to leave, my eyes caught a familiar silhouette by the window. Why did he look so familiar? The person glanced up, and a strikingly handsome, cool face instantly registered in my mind. It was Xie Zhenqiu. I shot him a triumphant smile and turned to flee. The fish I had baited had just swum right into my net.
The end.